And, you know, yeah, obviously have your vet assess it.
I guess my thing is, how do you enforce something like that?
Well, that's not, you can't enforce it. It's just about, well, you can't sell it. If the law says it's illegal to offer for sale a sick, lame, or debilitated horse, okay, if it's cruel to work that horse, then you can't sell it.
But you know that happens all the time.
Right. Murder happens all the time, too.
Well, yeah.
So,
but that's,
just
so
be,
that's what I'm saying.
but
how
there's,
do you cut that off? How do you...
well, a lot, you know...
It's like personal honesty, I guess is what I'm saying.
Well, we start changing what we're talking to when we talk to people. You know, when the little girl comes into riding, okay, we talk, I mean, when I started riding, a long time ago, I don't want to say how long ago, you know, you didn't jump a horse till they were 5 or 6. You didn't ride them till they were 3, okay? And there weren't all these medications that you could use to keep, and now they've legalized it. You can use all these pain medications to keep the horse performing. So if it's harder to get rid of it, okay, or if you have to watch it die, maybe you'll take a little bit better care of it. You know, instead of, you know, every year, at the end of the year, the horse magazines have this, you know, congratulatory ads, you know, all my riders and everything they won. Well, trainers make money with that horse out competing every weekend. If that horse is home in the barn, they're not making money off that horse. There's no trailering, there's no coaching, there's no breeding fees. So it's all about keeping this horse going, but there's nothing, you know, we don't rest them when they're sore. You know, they didn't used to race year round. They used to turn them out, lay them up. And because it's so easy to just dump them, and slaughter's just right there to get rid of them, if it wasn't so easy to get rid of them, okay, and if we, again, started talking to people about appreciating that they're not a breed of trash and can 'em attitude, that you would take better care of them. Because if you have to watch them die, or you have to pay to retire them, those are negative consequences. And so, like for example, if you bought a car that broke down and you had to pay to get rid of it and you lost money, would you want to buy that same brand of car again? Right, so if people getting stuck with these quarter horses that are going lame at 7 to 11, which is the average age of a slaughter horse according to the USDA, and the #1 slaughter horse is a quarter horse. So, you know, if there was a negative consequence, if people were stuck with this lame quarter horse, or they had to pay, you know, for the isoxaprine and all the other medications and the bar shoes, hey, I don't want a horse like that. You know, I want a horse that's going to cost me so much. It's going to stay sound. Then the breeders won't breed it if there's no demand. But right now, there's the demand. I mean, why do you think the AQHA is so pro-slaughter? They're the #1 horse going to slaughter.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I mean, so, you know, and also it's just, you know, marketing. Again, you know, if there was places where kids could go to learn to ride, just to learn to ride for the fun of it, and not all about competing and getting the horse out there, and just having fun things to do with your horse. And hey, it's okay to fall in love with your horse. I've had owners who told me that they had the stable owners give them a hard time because this woman enjoyed going out to the stable, reading a magazine, and hand grazing her horse. That's what she liked to do. Oh, no, you've got to get him in the show ring, you've got to do this, all this pressure to get the horse to compete, okay? And all of my boarders will tell you stories of how one barn, you know, they didn't want to face the fact that the other horses were getting abusive training. They thought, they'll never do it to Junior, that won't happen to Junior. And then they weren't there for a while, growing off to college, and when they came back, you know, well, Junior had the scars behind his ears. You know, they'd done it to Junior. And that made them finally wake up and realize that, hey, there are abusive training practices going on in this barn. This girl competed on the A circuit, and she was, you know, had a champion hunter. Every time she went to a new barn, got to get a new horse. Got to get a new horse. Got to get a new horse.
But isn't that because they're also selling them.
Exactly. Exactly, because they're making money off of that, you know, but these people, you know they're keeping Molly, you know, they kept their horse, okay, they stood up to it, but look how many people don't stand up to it. How about all the, you know, again, your responsibility to educate yourself. I am so sick and tired of reading about the kids who are crying the blues because they listened to their trainer and they injected the horse's tail. And the injection went wrong, and now the horse has lost his tail, and he's even losing his hind end. Hello? The people will say, well, my trainer told me it was okay. And again, having been there, done that, these trainers are gods. They're winning, they're in the magazines, you're looking up to them, and you believe them. You know? My trainer sent my horse to slaughter. He was a champion, he was 100% sound, he was 9 years old. And it was years later I figured it out. Because he had been on the trailer at Agawam, and the breeder had seen him, and she came up to me and she said, you know, I saw Stringer on the trailer at Agawam, and I said, Duke, what's he doing here? He's too good of a horse to be here. Oh, I'm meeting a guy here, you know, private sale. And he had told me the horse was going to Canada to cut cattle. Years later, you know, after I learned more about slaughter and everything, he sent my horse to slaughter. You know, he did basically a little shell game going on, and, you know, the horse that I'm selling you, even though he's green broke, he's a much better horse, so your champion horse, you know, you still got to give me another $500 because your champion horse is, even, you know, this green horse when trained will be better than your champion, so I need $500 more. You know, well, what he did was $500 for the slaughter horse and the $500 for me, and that paid for the horse that he got. You know, so, I mean, there is so much, you know, that goes on, and I grew up believing in these organizations, the American Association of Equine Practitioners, the AQHA. I open up the horse publications and I read what they're saying, and it's like, you're wrong. You are wrong. You know, I'm constantly reading that a federal law has passed to ban slaughter. No, it hasn't. There's no federal law. The slaughter plants closed because of state laws and well, the enforcement of state laws. That's why the plant's closed. There's no federal law. They're telling you, oh my God, you know, it's against state law to bury your horse. No, it's not. There's no Pennsylvania state law. Yes, what you need to do is make sure that there is not a local ordinance, okay? But, you know, it depends where you're at. But, you know, in rural counties, there's no local ordinance telling you you can't bury your horse. So if someone tells you something is illegal, unless they can produce the document that says it's illegal, they don't know what they're talking about. And vets do it all the time. Vets constantly tell people it's illegal, and it's not. I don't, you know, I think I can't speak for them, okay? It may be because they don't know of any other disposal method. It may be because they don't want, you know, there may be a local ordinance and they don't know every township's ordinances, so it's just easier to tell people, okay? So, but, you know, that really hurts people. People who love their horses. I mean, we had a client's horse that died last year at the vet's, and she was going to bring him home to bury him at our farm. And the vet said, you know, I know Chris buries him up there, but it's illegal. And my boarder said, I know Chris would never do something illegal. You know, I'm sending my horse home. And two of our sponsors are CR Cremations, Brown's Transport. And Janet Brown picked that horse up. I mean, she was, you know, we always say, you know, the vet, I love my vet, but she kind of gave lip service to Laura's concern that she didn't want Donnie outside. Don't put him down outside. It's raining. Yes, he's dead, but don't leave him outside in the rain, you know. And Janet was so careful, you know, don't mess up Donnie's head. And, you know, so we were able to get Donnie home. And, you know, last year at the Horse World Expo, they said, oh, you know, you can't bury him. And you know how it is when the snow's on the ground and you can't get a backhoe in. Well, if you can't get a backhoe in, you can't get a trailer in to take him to an auction either.